I'm back, and this is another recap video for our Leaf the Week Behind stitch series for 2025. And this video is going to be all about leaves 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it's video number 3. So let's get into it. This is week 9, and we're going to use some silk ribbon and do some chain stitches and some little bullion loops. I'm going to do it on this linen piece, and I'm going to be using this silk ribbon, and it is from Mary Jo Heaney. I think that's how you pronounce her name, so if I pronounced it wrong, I apologize. And we're going to use moss, and then we're also going to use this Eleganza Pearl Cotton. This is Easy M83 silk bonnet, and this is in a size 8. Remember, the green spools tell you it's a size 8. And we're also going to use some of this really pretty silk pearl from the Thread Gatherer, and this color is Sea Heather, and this is a size 5. Each of these videos that I do are going to be kind of long, so what I'll do is put a time stamp in between each of the leaves so that if you want to skip ahead, you can do that also. So I've got my chenille needle here, I've got my silk pearl, and first we're going to start by doing a chain stitch around this leaf. We're going to do it in the background, so in the linen close to the applique. Now because I'm left-handed, I'm going to go clockwise, and if you're right-handed, you might want to start counterclockwise, but do what feels good to you. So here we go. I'm going to bring my needle to the front, and I'm going to take a little stitch here really close to the edge, putting my working thread behind the needle. Oops. And there's the first chain. Now to make the second one, you want to make sure you go into that loop, into that hole, so you can chain them together. Just like that. And if you noticed, I'm doing it, not under, kind of tucking it under this leaf. I want the chain stitch to kind of stand out to the side, so I don't want to get it too far in, but you do want it close to the edge. So I'm going to keep going here, and we're going to make a chain stitch all the way around, just like that. Okay. Not making them too big, and I'm not making them too small. So we are using a size 5, so you don't want to make them too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working on this, and then I'll come back and talk to you about the next part. Okay, I have a little tip for you. I have come almost all the way around, but I still have a little bit left to go, and I ran out of thread. So instead of just pulling a really small length of thread, go ahead and pull what you would normally do to reload your needle, and then that way you can rewind the extra back onto your spool or whatever, and that will keep you from wasting thread. So try that the next time that you run out of thread. Don't pull something really short for a little area. Go ahead and pull a full length. I've finished doing the chain stitch, and now I'm going to work with the silk ribbon. I made a color change. I decided to use this color. It's very similar to the other one. It's called Maidenhair, and I'm going to stitch with that instead. So now I'm ready to do the fly stitch, and we're going to do a closed fly stitch down the center of my leaf. Okay, I'm going to come up to the top here. And I'm going to go down just a little bit at an angle up on one side. Okay, and then I'm going to go on the other side and go back down in the middle, right close where that center line is. And I'm going to make the first stitch here, just like that. You can use the back of your needle to flatten out the ribbon if you want. Okay, and then I'm going to keep doing it down the line, just kind of fanning it out. Going on the other side. And kind of watch your tension. You don't want to pull it too tight. Okay, let's see if we can see that a little bit better. Now, if you don't like it twisting, you can play with it a little bit and flatten it out. I'm not going to spend too much time doing that because I know you guys don't want me fiddling around too much with the stitch. So I'm going to go over here. Okay, and I'm going to keep working until I go all the way down to the bottom, and I'll come right back. I finished the silk ribbon. I started to run out of the ribbon here, and so if I had longer length, I could have done one more, but I just stopped there. I think it's going to look fine. So now we're going to do the bullion loops. I've got my needle threaded here. This is a milliner's 3. That matches the size 8 pearl cotton here, and we're going to do some bullion loops on the edges of each one of these. I'm going to bring my needle up to the top, and you always start away from where the stitch is going to land. Now, since I'm left-handed, it really doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, you're still going to stitch this bullion loop in the same exact way. So I'm going to take a little bite here, just like that. I made it kind of small because I'm going to do 15 wraps. I'm going to see how it looks. The instructions say to do 15 wraps to make the loop, and we can make adjustments along the way. So I've made my little bite here, and now I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you're pushing your threads all the way to the base. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I've got 15 loops. I'm going to hold the loops down with my thumb. Now, I always tell my students not to hold it with your thumbnail. You want to use the pad of your thumb to hold the loops in place. It's very important. So then you're going to push your needle through, and if you noticed, I have not let go of the stitches at all. The loops are still under my thumb, and I'm going to pull it as tight as I can, and I'm going to start moving my thumb out of the way, and you see the little loop there. So you're going to tighten that up. Use the back of your needle to kind of place it where you want, and that makes a little loop. I'm going to take my needle to the back of my work. Oops. Okay, makes a little loop. So I'll do it again, and then I'll work on it a little bit more. So you're going to come up to the top. Going to take a small bite. I'll show you that up close. Okay. Wrap it 15 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure you're pushing your loops all the way to the base of your needle there. Hold on to it with your thumb. Don't let go. Pull it through. And then tighten the loop. Okay, I always use the back of my needle. You can shape your loop if it gets kind of wonky. And then you're going to take your needle to the back to finish the stitch. Remember, you always have to anchor your stitch. And it looks like that. So I'm going to finish this and I'll come right back. Okay, so I have finished this leaf. Here's just a little comparison to the one that we've done, and it's a little bit smaller than this one, but you can kind of see the difference in the thread colors, but I think it turned out pretty good. Let's look at the next one. Here is week number 10. We're going to be doing some crested chain stitches on the inside, on the outside, and then we're going to do some French knots. So let me prep the leaf that I'm going to demo, and I'll come right back. I'm going to use this leaf for week 10. I'm not going to use a cotton, but I've decided to use this little piece of wool. And the inside crested chain stitch that I'm going to do, I'm going to be using this Eleganza Pearl Cotton. It is EZM 108. It's called Couch Potato, one of my favorites. And I have a chenille 24 needle. I'm going to work the crested chain stitch clockwise. If you're right-handed, you may want to do it counterclockwise. Do whatever feels good to you. So I'm going to turn it to the side here. Turn my leaf to the side. I'm going to come up to the top. And I'm going to make a little chain stitch like this. And then I'm also going to take a little stitch at the top. So this stitch has 2 steps to it. You're going to make a chain stitch, and then you're going to add this little extra. You're going to wrap the needle, or wrap the thread around the needle, front to back, and you're going to pull it through, and it makes a little knot. Now you're not finished yet. You've got to remember to take the back of your needle and go under this bar, and I'll show you up close, like that, to finish the stitch. So let me show you how to do it again. I'm going to take a little chain stitch, just like that. I'm going to take a little bite just right across on top. I'm going to wrap my thread from front to back, and it makes a little knot. Go under the bar to finish the stitch. I'll do it again. Go under the bar. And that's how you make the crested chain stitch. So I'm going to work this all the way around. Then I'm going to go on the outside and work it all the way around, and then I'll come back. I've gone all the way around, and now I'm ready to start the outside crested chain stitch. So I am using this Painter's Thread Grandma Moses. It's a pearl cotton, and it's in a size 8. In the past, we've only been able to get this in a size 3, but now they make it in a size 8. One thing to note that this is hand painted, so each spool could be different from one batch to the next. So this is a nice blue-green color that I got. And then I am using a chenille 24 needle, and I'm going to do the crested chain stitch all the way around, and I'll start it. And I just like to start them on the side. So I'm just going to start on the side, and I'm going to do the crested chain stitch all the way around. So first you make the chain stitch, and then you're going to go up to the top, right across, take a little bite, as you can see, wrap my thread front to back, pull the needle through, and you notice I use my right thumb to keep my stitches in place. Oh, and I've got a little knot here. Just like that. Use the back of your needle and go under that bar. Just like that. And then you're ready to start the next one. Just like that. And go under the bar. So one thing you can do, oops, just hit the camera. One thing you can do, if you find your stitches look kind of wonky, if you take the back of your needle and push your loops to the base, it kind of neatens it up a little bit. The idea is that you want your stitches to be kind of even. If you noticed, this one is a little bit shorter than this one. So the goal is to try to get it all the same height. I think by the time I'm finished, you won't even notice it. So I'm going to finish this. I'll go back around, and then I should think about doing something a little bit different in the center here. Because I didn't use the cotton, I have this open space. I might stitch a fly stitch down or something interesting. I'm not sure yet, but I will think of something to stitch in the center. So now I'm finished with all of the crested chain stitches, and I've changed to a milliner's 3 needle. This is the size needle that you use for a size 8 pearl cotton. And now I'm just going to do a series of French knots all along the outside here. And I'm just going to bring my needle to the front of my work, just like that. And I'm going to do a 2 wrap. So I'm going to wrap once, twice. You're going to go back down into the back, really close to your emerging thread, but not through the same hole. And using my thumb to hold the stitch in place, I've made a little knot. So I'll do it again. Come up to the top, wrap it twice, go back down, and it makes a little knot. So I will go and do this, and that will complete this leaf. I will figure out what I'm doing in here. I'm just not sure yet. This is week 11. For this leaf, we're going to be stitching on some velvet rickrack. We'll be doing some bullion knots, some French knots, and these little tiny fly stitches. And we're going to work on this leaf, and we are going to be using this little velvet rickrack. Now, I have a roll of this. I'm not sure where you're going to be able to find this. I actually bought this in a gift shop, and they were selling it on the roll, and I knew that I had to have it, and I bought 2 of them. So you might be able to find some, but I feel like it's really hard to find, but you can use any kind of rickrack for this leaf. We're also going to be using these 2 pearl cottons. This is Easy M57, number 8, and this is Easy 10, number 8. And with those threads, you're going to use a chenille 24 needle and a milliner's 3 needle. I almost forgot to tell you that go ahead and stitch the velvet rickrack on the leaf first. I'm just going to be using some cotton sewing thread to stitch it in place, and you're going to tuck in the edges about 1/4 of an inch on either end. We'll do that first, and then I'm just going to go and use my wool thread and stitch the leaf in place. And you can either do it all basted down on your piece, or you can do it separately. So we'll do that first and I'll come back. So let's stitch some of the fly stitches in the valleys of our rickrack. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to just make little stitches, just like that. And I'll drop the legs of each one in the valley itself. Okay, and then I'm going to move to the next one. Trying to keep them as even as possible. And I'll keep going all the way across and then down the other side. Okay, I'll keep going along and then I'll come back and we'll do the next part. Now I'm ready to start the bullion knots that are going to go around this leaf, and I'm going to stitch probably about, or I'm going to wrap about 8 to 10 times, probably 10 times. So I've changed my needle to the milliner's. I've come up to the front of my work. I'm going to take a little bite here, just like that. And I'm going to wrap about 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want to make sure that you push your wraps to the base of your needle. Hold on with your opposite thumb. And it makes a little bullion knot. Don't forget, you got to anchor your stitch, and then you're going to go to the next one. I'm about to run out of thread, but I think I can get one more before starting over. So I'm going to wrap 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull my needle through. And then make sure you anchor your stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way around the leaf and then I'll come back. Now we're going to work on week number 12, and we're going to work on this leaf. It's a nice narrow smaller leaf, and we're going to do the raised fishbone stitch. I'm using Eleganza Pearl Cotton. This is EZM 14. It's called Lettuce Wrap. This is a great thread in all 3 sizes. I've got my chenille needle threaded, and let's get started. Because I am left-handed, I will be stitching, taking my little bites in the center from left to right, but if you are right-handed, you would just do the opposite from right to left. There's some great stitch videos on how to do this. There's also Creative Stitching by Sue Spargo that has a great diagram on how to do this right-handed. I would check those out if you don't quite understand what I'm doing. So I'm going to get started by coming up to the top of my work. I'm on the edge here in the background. And I'm going to take one stitch down in the center here, and I'm going to come up on the side right here. Just like that. I'm going to take a little bite, just like that, from left to right. Then I'm going to go across. I'm going to take a bite across the top from the left to the right side, just like that. And it kind of makes a little X. Just like that. And I'm going to do it again. Then I'm going to go across again. Kind of forms these little X's. So I'm going to keep working all the way down until I fill in this leaf. One thing to keep in mind, depending on the spacing that you do will change the look of this stitch completely. So my goal is to really kind of fill it in a little bit. I'll use the back of my needle to kind of move the stitches around to where I like it. Also, you need to be mindful of your tension on the back here, because you don't want to pull it too tight or the shape will buckle. So be mindful of these bars going across. You don't want to do them too tight. So I'm going to stitch a little bit and then we'll talk a little bit more.